Hi guys. So pleasure to meet everyone. My name's Lance Custon. I am the CEO over at Realty.com and Estimate.com. And I'm happy to be with you guys today to talk a little bit more about who we are, what we are, where we came from, all that good stuff. And then just a little bit of coaching. We're in a pretty interesting world right now in the seller world. In some parts of the country, you've still got multiple offers on the house. And in other parts of the country, you've got stuff waiting the worst since 2008. So I've got Sean here with me. Sean, are you there? Let's
I
pin him up.
am.
There's Sean, and then I'll let
Yes,
Sean
sir.
introduce himself too.
Can you hear me okay, Lance?
Yep.
Beautiful. Right on. Well, welcome everybody. I'm so grateful to be here, Lance. Thank you for inviting me. Guys, it's my intention today to share a couple of philosophies with you around the listing presentation itself. I mean, Lance is going to help you generate a ton of leads. We could talk through some lead conversion strategy, yet I think where the rubber meets the road, we work so hard to set appointments. I want to talk specifically about what is said during the listing presentation. Now, my last year in production before I became a full-time trainer, consultant, coach in this space. Guys, I went on 162 listing appointments that year, and I took 160 listings that year. Now, high conversion percentage, 98.7%, in fact. And I'm going to show you specifically today exactly how I did that. So I have a great deal of respect for your investment of time, and I don't take that lightly. In fact, I've got just a couple of goals today. Number one is to share my listing presentation strategy with you. And by the way, it's not all about your marketing strategy. Many of you have bought into this idea that you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get the right marketing plan to sell your listings, to take the listings. And I'm here to tell you, it's not about your marketing plan. In fact, the marketing dollars that you should be invested toward lead generation, not to get your listing sold. Because when you take a listing, you put it in MLS, guys, it's syndicated all over the world. You don't need to do any additional marketing spend to get that listing sold. In fact, I'm going to suggest to you guys 99% of the marketing that you do on your listing is the price in which you list it. Now, we have entered a couple of years ago, we entered into a skill-based market where prior to that, from 2020 through 2024, 23 and a half, it was really a non-skill based environment for real estate agents. Now, hear me on this. I mean, you go out on a listing presentation, you tell the seller it's worth 700,000. The seller says, nah, screw that, man. I want $1 million for it. So you end up taking the listing at $1 million. And guess what? Multiple offer situation, 25 offers came in and you sold it for 1.4 million. You didn't need skill for that. All you had to do is figure out how to get it in MLS, man. It was gone. Those days are long gone though, you guys. Now we have to become experts at pricing your listings. There's only one reason a listing doesn't sell. What is it? It's not location. It's not condition. It's not motivation. It's price. You guys, I've sold complete turds that back up to 8-lane highways. And we sold them because we priced them appropriately. No doubt about that. Yet it drives me crazy. I can tell you how many listings that I took that had expired. And I asked the seller directly, how many times did your previous listing agent call and ask you to improve the price? And they said, never. I even had one couple, they said, Sean, we even called our agent and asked them, should we reduce our price? And the agent said, no, I'll get it sold at that price. That's your ego, you guys. That's frankly, it's stupidity. Price is what's going to sell your listings, and you need a price improvement strategy in today's world. So once you get a signed listing contract, I'm going to encourage you guys posture with that seller. You simply tell them, listen, I don't make the market. It is my job, however, to interpret the market. And if we go 10 days without a single showing, or we have 5 showings without a single offer, I want you to expect a call from me or one of my team members asking you to improve your price. Is that okay? I mean, simple as that. You just set the expectation, then pay attention. 5th showing, no offers, call them and ask them to improve the price. And here's how that conversation goes. Hey, Lance, Sean Kokoska with eXp Realty. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm sure you remember our conversation that if we went 5 showings without a single offer or 10 days without a single showing, that I want you to expect a call from me or one of my team members asking you to improve the price. And it's time that we have that conversation. So here's my question, Lance. Do you want to do a normal price improvement of 2% or a drastic price reduction of 10%? Which would you prefer?
Probably 2% is what I would prefer. And it's just that I understood the conversation was coming. My objection would be, do you think we should wait a little longer? But at the end of the day, I did agree to it. So here we are today.
All I'm doing, guys, is setting and managing the appropriate expectations. And that's how I want you to view your business, by the way. I mean, working the buyer side of the fence, I was a buyer agent for the first 10 years of my career. Guys, I'd consistently close over 100 buyer side transactions per year, several $100,000 commission months as a 20-something-year-old kid with one unlicensed assistant. And the reason I could do that is because I understood that this relationship, it's nothing more, it's nothing less than setting and then managing the appropriate expectations. You do that with your buyers, you do that with your sellers. They generally want to comply with the system, provided they understand the benefit associated with them. For example, we had a serious seller certification program where the sellers would obtain a pre-listing inspection. They would do the repair work that the inspector recommended. They would provide paid invoices. They would do a clue report. They would do pest inspection, excuse me. They would create a floor plan, professional photography, drone footage. And this was our serious seller certification program. Now, the benefit to the seller was fewer days on market because we had a profound point of differentiation. When you look at 5 listings that day, one of those listings has a 3-ring binder sitting on the kitchen counter with a full inspection report, paid invoices of the work that the seller already had done on it, a home warranty and all the information there, the clue report, the pest inspection. I mean, guys, it gives you that profound point of differentiation. It gives the buyer confidence in your listing. So higher average sales price, fewer days on market. It's just a system that you set and then manage the appropriate expectations. By the way, I would give every one of the sellers who signed a listing contract with us a certificate for 2 hours of a free handyman service. So the inspector would do the work. They would give them their punch list of things. They would immediately contact their handyman, and the handyman would come in and knock out most of the things on that punch list for them. Every buyer who purchased a property with us at the closing table got a certificate for 2 hours of a free handyman service. So when the buyer would do their home inspection, they would send it to the contract coordinator on the buyer side. We called them the client care manager for buyers. They would send the inspection report. They would immediately send it to our handyman, and the handyman would say, well, I'll take care of this, 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 and this, and that 2 hours of free work. Guys, it just smoothed out the process. So there are systems that don't have to cost you a lot of money, which, by the way, my handyman, he charged $100 per hour, yet he wanted to build his book of business. And what an easy way to do that, where I would guarantee him payment for 2 hours at $25 an hour. So it cost me $50 per listing, $50 per buyer, and they got 2 hours of free handyman service. Yet I got to tell you, the amount of time, the amount of energy, the amount of money it saved on the back end, you guys, it's well worth it. Now, let's get back to the listing presentation. So I've set the appointment. At first, I'm going to ask that you guys qualify every listing appointment that you set. Now, in my opinion, there are 21 questions that should be asked of the seller before you invest your time in preparing a CMA, driving over to their property, giving a listing presentation. I'm going to post that to the chat for each and every one of you here in just a moment. I'm going to give you all my pre-listing qualifying questions. There's a couple of them on that list that many agents they tell me I would never ask that question. I'm thinking, well, why not? What are you afraid of? Okay. One of those questions is, are you planning to interview more than one agent for the job of selling your house? See, a lot of agents say, well, I would never ask that question. And you know the answer. Why? Because they're afraid they're going to plant the seed in the mind of that seller that they should maybe interview 2 or 3 other agents before they list their property for sale. Yet, here's my question. When do you want to know that they're going to interview 2 or 3 other agents? Do you want to know up front? Or do you want to find out when you try to close to get them to sign a listing contract and they then say, well, I've got 2 other agents I'm interviewing? See, I don't know about you guys. I'd much rather know that right up front. Then I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in control. See, then I have a choice. I can either go first or I can go last. Yet if I don't know the answer to the question, I'm out of control. Now, I prefer to go first, and the reason for that is because I've perfected the script and the dialogue of objection handling, which is where I offer to contact those other agents on their behalf, tell them that they were really excited to meet with you, yet I convinced them to list with me. And if you bring a buyer, of course, we'll pay the co-op commission of blank percent. I mean, I've already invested the time away from my family, putting all this information together, and there could be a buyer out there that wants to buy your house. They don't know about it. And while you're wasting time interviewing other agents, they could go under contract on a different property. And that's not what we want. And if necessary, guys, I might even say, and by the way, if you sign today, if I feel that I've done everything I can to get them on paper and they just won't do it, then I'll say, listen, today and today only, I will discount my commission just for you. You can't tell anybody I did it, yet I'm going to discount it by a 0.5%. if you sign right now. Yet the second I walk out that door, it's off the table. Guys, I'm going to take the listing and I'm going to call you to cancel your appointment. You understand that? Okay. Now, if you're the agent who prefers to go last, there's some solid thinking in that strategy. Okay. There really is. Either way works. I could choose to go last, yet if I choose to go last, I'm going to tighten down every screw and I'm going to get like a triple opt-in from you before I let you off the phone. So I find out that yes, you're going to interview more than one agent. I would simply say, well, I'd like to request that I go last. And let me tell you why. See, at the Kokoska Group, we do so much more than the traditional agent. I want you to interview the other agents so you have a kind of a working knowledge of what most traditional agents do. And I want to be last so that I can just blow your mind with everything that we're going to do in addition to what those other agents could do for you, and just show you the obvious choices to list your property with us. So these other agents, though, they might come in with, smoke and mirrors tactics, high pressure tactics. They might say something like, well, I'll reduce my commission if you sign right now, but if I leave this house without you signing, that discount is off the table. We both know it's not off the table, but nevertheless, I need your commitment, your promise. I need your word that you're not going to sign anything with anyone until you and I at least have an opportunity to sit down and meet. Is that okay with you? Do we have a deal? So again, I'm going to tighten down every screw I possibly can. I'm going to get you to opt in, double opt in, triple opt in. Okay, so you're not going to sign anything with anyone until you've had a chance to meet with me and at least learn what I do to get your property sold quickly for top dollar, correct? Okay, perfect. Now I feel comfortable. Now I feel confident. They still might have the other agent call me to cancel my appointment, though, and that terrifies me. Yet you have a choice, though. Another question that's on that list that I'm going to post to the chat here in just a moment is, are you considering selling your house all on your own without the services of a real estate professional? Now, a lot of people say, well, why would you ask that question? Aren't you planting the seed that they could sell it without having to pay a commission? Well, again, when do you want to know? Guys, I will guarantee you that every for sale by owner that's available in your market area, talk to at least one realtor before they put it on the market for sale by owner. I guarantee you. Yet if you know up front, then you can go in and give a problem presentation first to convert that to a listing presentation, okay? Don't let them treat you like a BPO, okay, to get a price opinion so they can just go out to Lowe's and buy their stupid plastic sign and write their phone number on it, take pictures with their cell phone and post to fsbo.com. Don't let them do that. Rather, you go in using 4 simple scripts. You start with the problem presentation that converts them to a listing presentation, and you've already sold against going for sale by owner. Makes it really, really simple. So with that said, I'm going to post that to the chat momentarily. Yet let's fast forward just a little bit, and let's say it's the time of our listing presentation. So I'm going to show up right on time. In fact, I might show up 5-10 minutes early, and I'm just going to wait in my car until the appointed time. Then I'm going to knock at exactly the time of our appointment. Then I'm going to remind the seller that I'm on time by simply saying, hi, Mr. and Ms. Seller. My name is Sean Kokoska with eXp Realty. We had an appointment at 6 o'clock, and it's 6 o'clock. May I come in? Now, I do this because I know that most agents are running late. I want to show them that I'm punctual, that I'm on time, okay? And yes, Debbie, I heard you announce that at the beginning. Hey, we're going to wait to start because we know we're dealing with realtors. Guys, it's a stigmatism. It's everybody thinks realtors are constantly running late. And Hollywood hasn't done us any favors either, by the way. Think about the last realtor you saw in a movie. I mean, 6-inch stiletto spikes, a skirt that's way too short, a cigarette that's, got the ash hanging off of it, right? And that's just the men that they're describing at Hollywood. They're terrible to realtors. I'm telling you, terrible. With that said, though, I want to up the professionalism of my game. So I'd have my briefcase over my right shoulder. I'd have a couple of moving boxes, medium size, under my left arm. And I'd step into the foyer and I'd say, listen, I've never met a seller who didn't want to declutter some closets, make those closets appear to be as large as they possibly can to any prospective buyers. And I wanted to give you a head start. And I'd just lean them against the wall in the foyer. And I'd say, by the way, once we get your home under contract, my courier is going to deliver all the moving boxes, all the bubble wrap, all the packing paper, all the tape, everything that you need. You don't have to worry about the boxes. We're going to deliver them for you. And you get to use our moving truck if you choose to, free of charge anytime you want. See, I want to do that right from the get-go. See, the hand that's left empty after giving is open to receive. It evokes the law of reciprocity right off the bat. Then I would say, do you mind if we sit at your kitchen table? So we'd go over to the kitchen table. I'd open up my laptop, and my screen would be the first slide in my slide deck. Now the slide says, As your realtor tours your property all on his own, viewing your home through the eyes of a buyer, please complete the seller survey. So there's a blank form. It was part of their seller workbook, and it's a seller survey form. So they would complete it, ask all the qualifying questions. How did they hear about us? All of those that I just wanted to keep them occupied as I toured the property by myself. Now, guys, why do you think I would do it that way? Why would I want to tour the property all on my own rather than having the seller guide me through the property? What do you think? Come on, talk to me.
I think
What's
you're
that?
not looking for the bias of the homeowners and their perspective of
Yep.
things. You're looking for what that prospective buyer is going to see it as.
That's exactly right. That's what the seller thinks. No doubt about that. Why
Right.
else? Why else do you think I would tour it by myself without the seller first?
Guys, you can unmute. So we're interactive here.
Yeah, this is the part where you get to participate. And how you participate right here is how you're going to participate out there. So dive in, guys. Now, real quick, let me just digress. Each one of us has a MIC, okay? MIC, it's an acronym. It stands for My Inner Cynic. I'm talking about that internal dialogue. When I ask for a volunteer, what does your internal dialogue say? Don't you dare open your mouth. You might look stupid. Am I right? See, Mick has a very important job, you guys, is to keep you comfortable, to keep you inside that little comfort bubble. Mick says things like, don't follow up with that prospect again today. You just left them a message yesterday. They haven't called you back. They're ghosting you. Don't waste your time. And then 2 weeks later, you finally call them just to find out they listed with another agent. Ouch. See, Mick has a very important job, is to keep you comfortable. You get this, right? Mick says, don't risk your little ego. It might get bruised. Yet the more you risk your ego, guys, the bigger your bank account balance gets. No doubt about that. So who has the ability to push Mick aside just for a moment and answer my question? Why
Yeah,
would I want to tour the property all on my
like
own?
you will get to see from a like a buyer's realtor point of view what are the pluses and minuses that they see from a neutral point of view when you're walking, which when you're walking and talking with a prospective seller, you're trying to pay attention to him and his conversation rather than you focusing on what is needed. What are the subtraction? I mean, what are the minus points of this from a neutral point?
Well said. And I 100% agree with everything you said. What's another reason that I want to tour the property all by myself, guys? Come on, now think selfishly just for
I
a
think
second.
it would be, I think it has to allow the sellers the opportunity to go through the document that you're and the workbook that they're going through without you sitting there, so that they're not feeling rushed,
Okay.
or trying to ask you what you think on this. It gives them a moment to go through it honestly
Yeah.
and put some time into it.
I see that too. And I think that's another sideline benefit of touring the property all on your own. Let me give you the real reasons. There's two reasons I do this. Okay. Number one is time. Okay. I'm selfish with my time because time is the only inventory we have in this business. And where we choose to invest it, guys, is going to set the trajectory of your level of income, period. End of story. Okay. I always ask people, do you have the $50,000 time management system, the $100,000 time management system, the $1 million time management system? And how do you know? Look at the number on your 1099. That will tell you what your time management system is worth. Okay, it's the time, and how you choose to invest it sets your trajectory.
Yep.
I can tour a property in 5 minutes. Simple as that. Yet that's not the real reason I want to tour it all by myself. It's a sideline benefit. Yet the real reason is, think about the last time a seller toured you through their property. What did they point out to you during the tour? Think about it.
All of their favorite things.
Oh yeah, all the options, all the upgrades, all the money that they put into the remodel. What they're doing psychologically is they're justifying a higher value for their real estate. And it's an overinflated value, and they think that they're persuading me. So when we sit down to have this conversation about price, well, then I'm not going to be as subjective as I should be, because I'm now influenced by the seller and all the upgrades, all the options that they did. And we know there's only one reason a listing expires. It's because of price. So I just want to approach that with the right energy. And I want to not be influenced, right, in any way, shape, or form. I want to have a real conversation about price. Okay, now I also, prior to the listing presentation, sent over my pre-listing packet that pre-sells me in every way, shape, or form. I think that's part of the reason I had such a high conversion percentage. It's also part of the reason that my listing presentation had nothing to do with my marketing plan. Nothing at all. Now I want you to hear that, you guys. It had nothing to do with the marketing plan. So in that philosophy, stick with me. So I'd come back to the table after touring the property on my own. I took some great notes. I would ask a couple of questions. I would compliment them on 2 or 3 different things. Then I'd sit down and say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to go through the presentation, and I would position my laptop to where they could see it. I would give them the seller workbook. They've already got that. Now, the first 2 pages of the seller workbook are fill in the blank. Okay. So every time a word would appear on my screen, they would just simply fill in the blank in their workbook. Highly engaging. Okay. Rather than me just kind of vomiting information on them and I look at them like deer in the headlights, it's going in one ear and out the other. By getting them to write certain words down throughout the presentation, it got them engaged. Yet, let me just describe this for you. I would say, Mr. and Ms. Seller, there's really 2 things that we're going to discuss today. One of which is the price of your property and what it can realistically expect to fetch in today's market. Now, the second thing that we'll be talking about today is my marketing plan. That's everything that I'll do and my team will do to get your property sold quickly for top dollar. Now, Mr. and Ms. Seller, given the 2 choices, which would you prefer to talk about first, the price of your property or my marketing plan? Now, what did they always say? Every time. Price. Price. Yet, how do most agents do this? Don't they bore that poor seller to tears, giving them all the things they're going to do, all this wonderful marketing? Come on, you guys. It's not about your marketing plan. It's about them seeing a brighter future by aligning with you and that you can help them get from A to Z. It's as simple as that. So they always said price every time. And I've been on thousands of listing presentations, you guys. This is not just I'm not just shooting from the hip here. I guarantee you they say price every time. And so I would say, I am so glad that you said that because me and my team, we have made a science out of pricing property. Now, what I've learned is that there's 3 strategies that we can choose from. The first strategy is what I call the retail approach. It's not my favorite strategy. Yet what we do is we'll bring your home to market, top of the market, maybe even overpriced, right? Then what we do over the course of weeks and months is we reduce the price, we reduce the price, we reduce the price. It gets market worn. We have to move it over to the outlet mall, over to the clearance rack to make it go away. Not my favorite approach. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Second strategy is what I call the less is more strategy, where we analyze those homes that have recently sold, the houses you'd compete with for a buyer, and we drastically undercut the market. Now, there's a lot of risk on your part, and there's a lot of pressure on me to get multiple offers. Then I'll use my negotiating skills to work them back and forth to get it to a more palatable price. It definitely works, yet there's a lot of risk on your part, a lot of pressure on me to get multiple offers. The third strategy, which happens to be my favorite, is what I call the competitive approach, where we analyze those homes that have recently sold, those houses you'd compete with for a buyer, and then what we'll do is just slightly undercut the market. See, what I've learned is that all buyers buy through comparison shopping. I've never met a buyer who said, show me just one house, Sean, I'm going to buy it. Show me no more. This is it. Doesn't work that way. They're going to buy through comparison shopping, and they're going to buy the home that offers the best features and benefits for what they desire, for what they can afford. And when we undercut the market just ever so slightly, something magical happens. So given the 3 choices, the retail approach, the less is more strategy, or the competitive approach, which would you prefer? Now let's brainstorm this, you guys. Which do you think is the best? The retail strategy, start high, reduce the price, reduce the price? No? Okay. It could be. Now think it's market driven. You guys with me on this? It's situational at best, because in 2021, was the retail approach the best approach? 100%.
Yeah, Sean, in my view, right, like the house that sits longer, even though you reduce the price, buyers always back out because they think that something else is wrong with that. So first impression is the best impression.
Yeah, I mean, I said 95% of the marketing you guys do on your listings is the price that you put on it when you bring it to market. I mean, to do the retail approach, to start high and then reduce the price, you're right. It gets a stigmatism. It's market worn. The buyers are thinking, what's wrong with this listing, right? And you end up getting far less than if you just did the competitive approach to begin with. We don't want to see that happen. Right now, in most major markets, the market is declining. Look at South Florida. I mean, the last 12 months, they've come down 11%. That's horrid. Yet, if you price the property right in South Florida today, what you're going to end up doing is the market comes down, you're just going to keep chasing it down and down and down and down. Where if you just undercut the market a little bit, where the market's heading, like Wayne Gretzky said, I never skated to where the puck was. I skated to where it was going to be. And that's how you need to list your properties, right? So with that said, you guys, I would then pull out 3 active listings. And I would say, and by the way, these are the homes you'll be competing with for a buyer. Now, let's just say that you're a buyer in the market today and you had to, and I mean, right this very second, you have to pick one of these 3 properties. Which one would you pick and why? So they would analyze it and they'd say, okay, we would pick this one. Well, tell me, why would you pick that one? Well, Sean, it has the least price per square foot. This one has a swimming pool. The other 2 don't. Whatever they say. And I say, well, you've just proved the fact that by bringing your house to market, we've entered a competition and that all buyers are going to buy the house that they feel has the best features, the best benefit, the best deal for what they want and afford. So we're looking at our competition right now and considering the competition and those homes that have recently sold, where do you think we should list your property for sale? Guys, I would never give them a number. They would ask me, what do you think I should list it at? Well, I would list it in this range, yet here's the thing. You're always going to pick the price, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, and I'm going to do my very best to market it. And while I don't make the market, it is my job to interpret the market. And what I've learned is that if we go, 10 days without a single showing or 5 showings without a single offer, that the market's talking to us and that we need to improve our price. See, I don't know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, have you ever gone fishing on a boat where you like park the boat in the middle of the lake and you drop your lane down? Have you ever done that? See, most people can at least get the analogy, at least a vision of what that might look like or feel like. Well, imagine that you've dropped your bait into the water and you lower it down, say 50 feet, and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. Well, there's no bites because the school of fish isn't there. And that's what the market is doing. The market is communicating with us. You're not where the school of fish are. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lower it down a little bit, right? We're going to lower it down a little bit to see if the school of fish are there. Now, by bringing it to that price point, we may get a bite, we might get a nibble, we might get a feeding frenzy. That's what I want to see happen, is that we get multiple offers so that I can negotiate back and forth to get you the highest price possible. So would you like to do a normal price improvement of 2% or a drastic price improvement of 10%? Simple as that, right? But here's the thing. Once we were done analyzing and we nailed the price down, then I would pull out a 1-page commitment to sell. This is a 1-page listing agreement. It's not enforceable in a court of law. Yep. Let me pull it up. I'm going to share my, okay, 1-page commitment to sell. Put in the date, seller's names, property address, and the list price. The commission's already typed out on this 1-page document. Then where it's red font, you guys just put in your team name or your name there. So let's read it together. It says, this letter is to provide notice of my intent to sell the above referenced property using the Kokoska Group as my contracted real estate agent. I understand that the required listing paperwork will be sent to me via email within 24 to 48 hours for completion. However, by signing this letter, I'm committing to listing my house with the Kokoska Group and can begin the listing process by scheduling with the Kokoska Group stager and photographer. The seller signs it. The agent signs it. As soon as it's signed, the agent snaps a picture of it, sends it to the client care manager for sellers, who then puts together the listing paperwork and disclosure documents and emails it to the seller for their signature. Now, the reason I did this, again, time is the only inventory that we have in this business, okay? So because of that, I want to conserve as much of it as I possibly can. I also learned that most objections to the listing process occur when the agent is going through the listing contract with the seller. And how many times do you get an electronic document for signature, you guys, that you're probably like me, where you just click to initial, click to initial, click to initial, click to sign, and you're done. You don't read the whole darn thing. And yet it gets you out of the situation where you have to explain the listing paperwork to them. And by the way, the disclosure documents too, certainly we would email that to them for electronic signatures if we had to. And the reason I say if we had to, because we would send a hard copy of the disclosures in our pre-listing packet with a little sticky note on there from the client care manager for sellers the sticky note said, please have the disclosures completed prior to Sean's arrival and also have an extra copy of a house key for Sean. So when I would walk into a listing presentation and I would see right there on their kitchen table all the signed disclosures and an extra copy of a key, guys, I knew I had the listing. It was already done, right? I'd just go preview the property on my own. I'd take some great notes and I would just come back, talk about pricing, get a one-page commitment to sell to sign, and I was out the door. My average listing presentation was like 23 minutes. So I feel bad for those poor sellers because I hear from most agents that their average listing presentation is like 2 hours. I'm thinking, wow, what on earth can you talk to somebody about for 2 hours? Those poor sellers. Just get in and out. That's what they want. They want somebody who's efficient at their job, not somebody who's just, I'm all about relationships. Guys, there's plenty of time to formulate a relationship with them after you take the listing, especially in today's market. Your job is to get a signed listing contract or a commitment to sell at a minimum. So let me post that to the chat so you all have it. And I'll also go in and grab some other documents that I'm going to post for you guys. Are there any questions that came in, Lance?
Yes, somebody asked, I think Caroline, days on market, her days on market is about 50 days. How do you talk to your sellers about days on market?
I tell them just that. In fact, it's part of my listing presentation. It's part of my slide deck. Let me do this. I'm just going to pull up my listing presentation slide deck for you guys. I'm going to give you a vision of what this looks like. Bear with me just 1 second. By the way, this is all part of a program I put together called Accelerated Breakthrough, where I get to coach agents for 16 weeks, guys. It's 4 months of coaching and training. For hear this, a one-time investment of just $297. It's a flat fee, one-time investment, and I get to work with you for 16 hours over a 4-month period. Individuals who engage in this platform, guys, they are doubling, quadrupling their production inside of 12 months. And if that's what you want to do, I'd love to help you get there. Bear with me just 1 second here. I want to show you the listing presentation slide deck, and I'm going to walk you guys through this just real quickly. And I did say I was going to give you my pre-listing questions as well. All right, you guys see this? Pre-qualify a listing appointment. So I'm going to give you this 2-page document. There's 21 questions that I want you to ask every seller. And here's my slide deck for the presentation. So this is what they saw. This was the first slide in the deck. Then it was the seller survey. Here's what it looks like. It was part of their workbook. And you can see that it's fill in the blank. Any space that you see here where there's a blank, it coincides with my slide deck. And when a word or a number would appear, they were instructed to fill in that blank as I went through the presentation. So it's 2 pages of fill in the blank. It was calculating their net, 47 easy ways to make their home sell faster, how we syndicate their listing through all of those different sites. And then they could take notes on the comparable sales. Once their home goes under contract, the client care manager for sellers would contact them, fill in the blanks on this document. They were instructed to pull that out of their seller workbook, have it someplace where they could reference it easily. What this did is eliminated a lot of unnecessary phone calls into the office of sellers saying, well, when's my inspection objection deadline, or when is the appraisal due, or whatever the case is. So seller survey, they would complete that as I toured the home all on my own. Then this is the slide that they saw. As your realtor tours the house, please take a moment to complete the seller survey. Your realtor would complete the walkthrough, viewing the house through the eyes of the buyer, and then we would complete a walkthrough together at a later time once they've signed the listing contract to develop a list of features and benefits to highlight in the marketing of their property. So they were instructed to fill in the blanks anytime a word would appear. So the first blank they would fill in, review your motivation to sell and agree on a price that will cause it to sell. So they would fill in the blanks. Then I would say, then I'll take a moment, answer any questions you have, and then we'll decide today whether you want to work with me, and I'll decide whether or not I want to take your listing. Sound good? Meaning that I don't have to take your listing, and I wanted to play the takeaway game with them a little bit, give them the FOMO. So 3 critical questions for you guys. Number 1, do you really want to sell your house? Then I would listen. I'm just in the qualifying mode right now. Do I want this listing? Second, are you willing to price your house to sell, or do you want it to sit on the market month after month after month? Oh no, we'll price it to sell. Perfect. Now, last question, do you want me to sell it for you? Now guys, National Association of Realtors tells you that 81% of sellers only interview one agent for the job of selling your house. You'll be shocked at how many people just say yes right off the bat. So you say, well, then I'll just get a signed commitment to sell and out the door. Yeah, you could do that. Yet my input is go ahead and give your presentation. See, that way the number of referrals you get will be increased. It won't be, oh, you need to call Sean, he's a great guy. They say, no, you need to call Sean, he's a great realtor, he's got a great system, plug in, right? But if I don't give them the presentation, they don't know. So let's review your goals. Where are you moving to? When do you need to be there? What's important to you about that? Remember, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. Okay, ultimately, what will all of that do for you? What they're doing is they're giving me what I need to close them at the end of the appointment, okay? I'm just going to reference back to the emotional reason. So here's the script. You already heard me say it. There are two things I'm looking forward to discussing with you today. One of which is pricing strategy to determine the price your house will realistically expect to fetch in today's market. The other is a marketing strategy where I'll show you everything that we'll do to get your property sold quickly for top dollar. Given the two options, which would you prefer to discuss first? The price of your house or my marketing approach? They always said price. So here's what they saw, right? I just put the script up there so you guys could read along with me, but that's what they would see when I did the script. They always said price. So I'd say our company has made a science out of pricing. There are 3 different pricing strategies to select from. One of which is the retail strategy. Then I would describe that. Less is more strategy. I would describe that. And my favorite, the competitive pricing strategy. So 3 options. It's situational. It's market driven. My favorite is the competitive approach. So again, anytime words or numbers would appear, they were instructed to fill in the blanks in their worksheet. So average list price to sales price ratio is 99.2%. The median price in our market is $228,000. Let's do the math. Average sellers are coming down about $2,000. So when we get an offer, a lot of times the seller gets upset. Well, they came in less than my request price. Here's my input. Don't get upset with that buyer who gave you an offer. Get upset with the buyers who didn't bring you the offer instead. Does that make sense? All right, so then I'll give them economic 101. Just listing inventory is up 16%. When inventory is up, demand goes down. When demand goes down, prices can also come down. I might tell them we don't want to chase the market down. We've got to price it where the market is heading versus where it's at. Okay, then I'd give them some basic information about the market. I mean, ultimately, I just want to figure out how many months of inventory do we have in that price point? How aggressive do we need to be in pricing? And if I'm looking at bringing my house to market with 23 months of inventory, man, I'm going to get aggressive on pricing. So talk about winning the competition, review the houses. Which one did you choose and why? Earnest money, inspection, pre-listing inspection, recommended repairs, typical cost of the appraisal. I mean, guys, I can get through this in 20 minutes. This, I think, is worth pausing on just for a second, because I do want to brag about my team a little bit. You're always working with the specialist. They're filling in the blank. Benefits are knowledge, availability, communication. They're filling in the blanks. See, this is the traditional realtor model where the realtor is the center of the universe. They're juggling so many balls. If they drop one and go to pick it up, well, all the others are going to fall. No doubt about that. I saw some serious problems with this model, so I created a new one where I took you, the client. I made you the center of the universe, and I've surrounded you with a team of specialists. Now, you might say, well, I'm a solo agent, Sean, I don't have a team. And yes, you do. I mean, should you make the decision to engage in accelerated breakthrough, you get all the digital assets associated with my listing presentation and buyer presentation, but then you can just go in and change these circles. For example, you might type in my managing broker would be a good one. Maybe you don't have a client care manager for sellers and you want to change this one to, maybe this would be your inspector. Maybe this one could be your title sales rep. You'd call them a title executive, possibly. You have a full-time courier already. It's called Uber. They'll deliver documents for you. Maybe you don't have a buyer specialist yet. I would get a referral relationship in place, and then you could actually put that in this circle. I hope that makes sense, you guys. Yet what you're looking for is to create a profound point of differentiation. So my goals are to get them the best price, get them to the closing table with the fewest amount of hassles, and do it within the time frame they desire. And when I'm successful, I'm going to ask them, who do they know? Maybe from work, their social circles. When they think of somebody, will you call me directly with their contact information, please? I don't make my living off of one past client. It's those clients that are so happy they pick up the phone and call me with referral business. Can you do that for me? Well, fantastic. All right. So then we just, I only used this if they wanted me to do some marketing that I knew was not going to get their listing sold any faster. I get a seller who said, well, I'll list with you, Sean, yet you've got to do an open house every Saturday and every Sunday until it goes under contract. I don't have time for that. I mean, at that time I was carrying like 78 other listings. How am I going to hold 78 listings open every Saturday and every Sunday? I can't, but I can justify why I won't do it, because only 1% of the time does a buyer buy a home that they saw being held open. Wouldn't you much rather me invest my marketing dollars and time into avenues that are definitely going to get you a buyer? Of course you would. So I would only use that if they wanted me to do marketing that I knew wouldn't work. Then I'd talk about the added value, the things that we brought to the table. Guys, within 25 minutes, I was out the door with the signed listing contract. It's kind of funny that I talked about it for 47 minutes, and I talked about it more than it took me to actually get a signed listing. Lance, my friend.
Yep, I'm here.
How'd we do, brother?
You went great there. So, any questions here? I see some people ask for recording. How do we find the sellers who want to list? That's me. So, like I said, I'm Lance. I'm at Realty.com and Estimate.com. Sean did an amazing job. You guys should all be able to go into a listing and grab the listing at this point. He's one of the best listing coaches, listing agents in the country. I've traveled all around the state of Texas with him and all around doing events, and just his presentation and his ability to coach these agents to success has been amazing. If in the chat, if you'd like to know more of what we are over at Realty, is we're title verified seller leads, which means they come to Realty.com, they tell us their motivation, they tell us the reason they're selling, they tell us why they're looking to sell, they tell a time frame, and then we title verify them. And then once we title verify them that they own that house, we send you guys the lead. If you'd like to know more about that, we won't do too hard of a sales pitch here. You can type your name in the chat and I'll get in contact with you. Or actually, I'll put my phone number in the chat and you can text me directly and I'll connect you with Donnie, who is my sales manager. And we can tell you more about it and get you on and kind of show you the product. But like I said, we're not looking to do too big of a sales pitch. But if you're looking for title verified seller leads and people looking to list, just let me know.
You guys, I would not hesitate. I would definitely schedule that call. I would learn about what Lance and Realty.com can do for you, for your business. Guys, everything starts with list building, and Lance will absolutely help you guys list build like a mad person and convert those leads. I'll help you convert them. Lance will help you generate the leads to begin with. And Lance, you mind if I do a really quick little commercial? Because some of these people maybe want a little more.
Yeah.
And I believe that their business and production, it grows to the extent that they grow. Would it be okay if I did a mini commercial?
Yep, I think Debbie's okay with it. Yep.
All right, cool. So guys, I talked real briefly about Accelerated Breakthrough. It's 16 weeks of coaching and training, $347. Yet if you use a promo code, which is ICON50, ICON50, at checkout, we're going to drop it down to $297 for you. Or if you want a payment plan, it's $99 a month for 4 months. But I get you 1 hour every single week to talk through these key talking points in month number 1. Then you're going to talk through in month number 2 all of these key talking points. You're going to learn NLP. You're going to learn social media marketing, the cutting edge strategies that will help your business grow, not just grow, but thrive. You're going to get my listing presentation in session 12, showing properties. You get my business planning methodology, all of that included. So next session of that 16-week, it starts now, you guys. If you're interested, at least scan the QR code, check it out. We'd love the opportunity to assist you, to lock arms with you, to help you find that clarity, the actions that you can take to really grow your business. And we want to do this in a way that doesn't break your pocketbook, okay? $297, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. We'd love to help you. And Lance, thanks for the opportunity to just pour into these folks. And ideally, you guys picked up 1 or 2 things that are going to help you with your listing strategy, help you get that next listing. And if you want more, I think Accelerated Breakthrough is a great place to start. All right, guys.
And at Realty.com, we started about $250 a month, and we can get you a checkout link. Like I said, I've got my cell number in here. If you're looking for listing leads, we're the place.
That's a no-brainer. You guys need to do that. I love it.
I dropped in the link, the iconcoachingre.com and the icon50 promo code that you gave us. I noticed on the slide you had, it said icon agent as a promo code. Is that the same? Gonna give them
icon50. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to share that today. I just last minute said I'm going to do a mini commercial. I apologize. I gave you the wrong promo code. It's icon50. Yeah.
Okay.
Icon50.
Perfect. And so for you guys, I hope you know and have noticed that Realty.com is one of our sponsors in the Facebook group. Their logo is at the top of the group. I'm really good friends with Lance and appreciate the way he runs his company. It's a very, you know, there's so many lead gen companies out there that I think just are all about kind of taking your money and not providing you with the tools and things that you need. And Lance does not run a company like that. They provide coaching with their platform, and Amber actually is a customer of theirs and has been for a while. Amber, if you want to just unmute and give a little bit of a kind of a testimonial about working with the people at Realty.com.
Yeah, I found it to be transformative in my real estate career, especially coming in as a new agent. Um, I actually just this weekend was out with clients showing them properties that came from a lead through realty.com. I've got sellers and buyers um, in my pipeline related to leads directly through those guys. I've sat in through numerous hours of coaching with their coaching staff, and they're incredible. They'll help you with your reluctance, the things to say, how to interpret these leads, and kind of best practices. And they really help you get in the door and then really seal the deal if you follow their strategies. So I found it great and easy to implement, especially as a new agent. I saw that several people mentioning that they were new and new here. It's been a really good lead source for me, guys. So I'm a big fan.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Amber.
Appreciate that, Amber.
All right, you guys. I loved what Sean had to say today. And Sean, I'm going to drop my contact information in the chat. I'd love to have you come join us on one of our virtual coffee masterminds on Thursday morning if you're available. I think you provided a lot of great value for the agents here today, and it was great. So thank you, Lance, for sharing Sean with us. And you guys, realty.com is in there. Lance put his email and his phone number. The link to check out Sean's coaching program and the discount code is all in the chat. So thanks for coming.
Rick just asked a question everywhere. Rick, if you want to text me. And then, yeah, in California too. Yeah, we can do that. Just shoot me a text at that 561-654-7201 number.
I think someone had asked earlier if if realty.com is in Canada yet, and I think that is not yet.
Kinda are. We're working on it.
Gotcha. Okay, beautiful.
Hey, real quick, you guys, I just posted the pre-listing questions to the chat. So please grab that before you disembark here. Go ahead and grab that. I put it in Word format so that you can modify it to your liking. You'll see that how I set that up is so that somebody can ask the questions for you. You can certainly ask the questions yourself, but the reason that I suggest somebody else does it for you is because you, like me, probably want to overcome the objections while you have that seller on the phone. But they're not going to list with you over the phone. If somebody else asks the questions, they're just going to circle yes or no, or they're going to handwrite the response in, and they're going to move to the next question. The goal of this is not to get them to list with you on the phone. It's so that you can go into the listing presentation uber prepared. You know what the objections are going to be before you actually start the presentation when you use this document. So please use it. You're going to love it. Thanks, guys.
Excellent. Thank you. So I dropped my contact information. It's my link tree, and everything is on there. The subscribing to our YouTube channel, our virtual coffee Thursday morning masterminds, the link is on there. Anything that you could possibly need is on that. My phone number, everything. So download that. And for those of you who don't know how to download the chat, so that you have his questions, if you click on the three dots beside where it says win the listing, it will open up something, and the first option will say chat. And so you click on that and it will download the chat to your computer. Since he did this in Word, you should also be able to right click on the document and copy the entire document, or save it. So save as. So there are all of those options on there as well. Thank you again, Lance and Sean. What a great afternoon presentation. I hope you guys will all take this information and go out there and and move forward and contact Sean. I can't believe $297 for 16 weeks of coaching. That's pretty amazing. So,
Yeah.
all right. Any final words, Lance, Sean?
I think I've got someone just trying to get in, just let them in. They're there at the end of the presentation. I think we're good. Debbie, thanks for having us. And Sean, thank you for being our special guest.
My pleasure, Lance. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Debbie. Take care, guys.
All right. Bye-bye now.